Hey guys, welcome back. We have a very special video today. This video is going to be on the food truck hiring playbook. I created this playbook because there's a lot of things that's going on right now in the food truck industry and food industry that we're going to tap into before we get to the playbook. I created this playbook because, man, it's a lot going on with the turnover rate within hiring. A lot of food truck owners are out there burnt out. So if you're a food truck owner that your food truck suffers from owner dependency, you on the right video. This is exactly where you need to be, my friend. So let's get right into it. Owner dependency is really killing the growth of food truck and restaurant owners all around. And to be honest with you, let's just be real. Owner dependency is something that you don't want to see in any industry. Any entrepreneur that's going through owner dependency is killing the business's scale. But this isn't just about any entrepreneur. This is about the food truck entrepreneur. Man, you're already wearing so many hats. You know what I'm saying? You're burnt out. You're the cook, the manager, the chef. Maybe you've done this alone. You've done this alone. You've done this by yourself, and you've earned the right to scale your business up and hire help. You hire help, but the problem is there's no system within your help. So you have people coming in, they're not being trained properly, or if they are being trained properly, they're inconsistent, they're not showing up like they're supposed to. You're going through new hires every 30 days, every few weeks, every 2 months. And every time you go through a new hire, it just sets your business back. So the way we fix that is we look at the hiring process, who to hire, what type of people to hire, what type of people not to hire. Once we get those people hired, we want to go into how do we onboard them? How do we get them in a good system that is not only trackable as far as tracking their progress, but also that they understand and they know what we're building here and they know what they signed up for. And then we go into the training, which we'll get to that a little bit later. But like I said, man, owner dependency is really stopping people from scaling their business. I talked to a food truck owner today. We were on the phone and he said, man, ever since I seen your videos, all I do is hear you in the back of my head. I hear the word owner dependency all the time. He told me that because of my videos and him learning about owner dependency, he's been working in his business and realizing all the things that he's been doing in his business, all the jobs he has. But he never realized it before. It kind of felt normal to him. And that's what usually happens when you're doing something over and over again. It becomes normalcy, but you don't want to get hooked onto that because now again you're stopping your business from scaling. So we're going to get right into the playbook. The main reason I created this playbook is because I was able to build when I had my food truck, and I still do have my food truck. I'm going to reopen it next year. But when I first opened my food truck, it was just me doing everything. Like I stated before, and I got to a position where I'm like, okay, the business is growing. We're getting noticed around the city. I'm doing a lot of events. I can't do this on my own. I need to, reach out and hire some people. I need to establish a team. And what I did was I was able to build a team. I mean, man, this team was like the dream team. I'm not even playing with you. And if you know me, you know I'm a basketball fan, so I meant that. This team was like the dream team. I had six people that I hired. Altogether, I hired eight. Two ended up not working out. They ended up not working out because you're gonna have those people, and I'm gonna get into that. But at the end of the day, I had six crew members that I was able to assemble and stuck with me. I created a culture within the business. I laid down rules. There was respect there on both sides. But the most important part, it isn't about what I did. It's about who I hired. I hired people that were eager. I hired people that wanted to be there. I hired people that wanted to learn. They was hungry. They wanted to work. And those are some of the best people. So let's get into it, man. Like I say, people ask me, they say, well, they think when I grew my $500,000 revenue in 1 year on my food truck, they think it's about marketing, menu pricing, events, caterings. Some people even think you must have ran a skeleton crew to keep all that money. No way. No way. People, excuse me. One of the things that people do not understand is that when you try to cut corners, or when you try to cut corners and not do a lot of things, thinking that that's going to get you ahead, thinking that that's going to save you. Let me give you an example. Man, I could run 3 people today on the shift, but how about I just save money on labor and I run the shift myself? Okay, you saved money on labor, but now you're busy. You're slammed, which is great. And you're getting these orders out, but because it's taking too long, some people decided to leave. They didn't have the time to wait. That's what I'm talking about. Sometimes we will scale back on certain things thinking that we're doing ourselves a favor when you're really just hurting yourself in the long run. So no, I did not get the 500K revenue in 1 year by scaling back on labor or making my menu pricing super high or marketing. I did it by assembling an awesome team. And these things matter because that is why we grew. Now, let's go down in here and let's talk about the real hiring problem that people have. One of the biggest hiring mistakes food truck owners make is waiting until they're desperate to hire. I cannot even stress that enough. The best employees are usually found before you actually need them. So make recruiting an ongoing habit instead of last minute decisions. I build plenty of relationships with people. We filled the positions up. I still had people that I kept in mind. Remember those 2 employees that I told you didn't work out? Why didn't they work out? Not everybody is going to work out. There are going to be some people that you say, "Hey, let's give a chance to them," or "Hey, let's have them work and we see some things going on, but let's not let them go yet. Let's work with them." That makes you a great human. But what we want to do is we want to scale back on those decisions as much as possible and make better decisions for who we hire. So with that being said, once I filled the positions that I had, when those 2 people left, I was able to bring 2 more people in or 1 more person in because I had already had people, I would say, in the vault, still eager, like they understood, okay, you would be great for this position, but the positions are filled right now. But if something comes along, I would love for you to be the first person I called. And they were the first people that I called. So most hiring problems don't start when someone quits. They start with poor leadership, unclear expectations, weak training, and hiring decisions made out of desperation. Man, when you're trying to just get a body in the building, you're doing yourself and your business such a disservice. Such a disservice. So let's go into what you should do before you post a job. Before hiring anyone, make sure you're prepared to bring them into a structured environment. I'm gonna read that one more time. Before hiring anyone, make sure you're prepared to bring them into a structured environment. I'm going to be honest with you. When you speak to people and you're trying to bring them on board and you hire them and then they come on your truck and it's chaos, instantly in their mind, they're thinking one of the things they're thinking is, I'm not going to be here long. That's one of the first things they're thinking. I'm not going to continue to work in this. Number 2, they're going to lose respect for you. If you don't know how to lead, which we'll get to that later too. If you don't know how to lead, if you don't know what you're doing, if you don't know your head from your ass, they're going to lose respect for you. So you need to ask yourself, do I know exactly what this role requires? What are my non-negotiables? When you're hiring somebody, you need to figure out exactly what is something that you absolutely will not tolerate. Because if you don't figure that out, you're going to end up letting a lot of things slide and a lot of bad habits are going to form and you're going to learn things the hard way. I promise you. What qualities am I looking for? Find out what qualities. This is like a relationship, guys. This is exactly like a relationship. I know for me, I have my non-negotiables for a relationship. I know what qualities I'm looking for. And I'm not going to settle for anything less. You need to be just like that within your business. You need to be like that within your daily life. But right now, we're talking about the business. Who will train this employee? You need to figure that out. Do you already have somebody on board with you? that you can trust to train them? If so, you need to start implementing good training habits within them and showing them things. Does my current team reflect the culture I want? This is so important. Building a culture within your food truck, it needs to reflect on your team members when they come on board. I'm going to mention the word bad habits or mention the word habits many times throughout this video because I can't express how easily people are influenced, especially when you're working with a younger group. You might have positions where you're working with, people that are in a younger age group. Me personally, I was the type before I started working for myself, I was the type of employee that even if I came into a business, it was very rare. This had to be super, super early on in my working journey. But if I came into a place that happened to be have a little chaos, I wasn't the type to be like, oh, well, I'm gonna be chaotic as well. Whoever I worked for, you're welcome. But everybody is not like that. Everybody is not like that. You know the term, well, she did it, so I did it. That's a follower. That's not a leader. Am I hiring because I'm desperate or because I'm prepared? You need to figure some things out on your own before you go looking for others. And also, back at the top, do I know exactly what this role requires? That is very important because when you start hiring people and you bring them on board, you need to be very specific and very clear about what their job will entail. And not only that, what the truck is about. Where's the truck going? Stop hiring bodies. I'm using the word bodies because I want to be specific. If you've been in the restaurant industry long enough, you've heard the term, we just need a body. We just need a body. Sometimes you just need a body. It's easier to bring somebody. If all that person has to do is take orders, hey, I just need somebody to take orders. I just need somebody to do that. But when you get to a point where you're repeatedly hiring people out of desperation because you need bodies, now you're going to see that 9 times out of 10, those bodies you're hiring, they're unqualified people, which means you're going to start wasting your time. You're going to start wasting your money. Hey, I want you to put in the comments if you've ever hired somebody because you needed a body, and then when that body came and worked, you tell yourself, you know what? I could have worked both of those stations on my own. I could have did that. I could have did that on my own. That body actually ended up being in the way instead of helping. This is why we don't want to hire bodies. Okay? We don't want to hire just bodies. Why? Because before long, they're gone. You've spent time training them. The money has been lost and you're right back. You're right back where you started looking for another body. So I'm going to be showing you how to end that cycle, okay? But before we do that, let's talk about the cost of a bad hire. Let's talk about the cost of a bad hire because everybody can look good but let's talk about the cost of a bad hire. A bad hire costs more than hourly pay. Stick with me. It also costs training time, lower team morale. The same guy who I was on a call with today, the food truck owner, who told me that he's starting to hear the word, he's starting to hear me say owner dependency all the time, and he's noticing what he's doing. He also told me on that call, he said, there's a girl I'm about to let go of. He said, I mean, she shows up every day, but she's got bad vibes. She comes in with an attitude. She's bringing the crew down. That is what I'm talking about. Lowers the team morale. You want people that come into your business happy, ready to work, willing to work. Slower customer service. She got an attitude. Now she moving slow. And the whole team, there's nothing worse than when the whole team is pumped, you're busy, you dishing out food, you making it, you in a good vibe because y'all are rocking. Everybody is moving with this cohesive effort. And you just have one person that's just like, it's like, bro, go home. Go home, bro. Don't be here. Don't be here messing everybody up. That's a body. You be like, you know what? To save my peace of mind, you can go home and I can do my job and your job at the same time. You'll be willing to put yourself in that small pocket of owner dependency just to save your peace of mind. Your energy. That's exactly what we're talking about right now. A bad hire is going to cost you your energy. They're going to cost you your focus, additional turnover, and most of all, loss of revenue. When I say loss of revenue, I'm not just talking about, we're not talking about the money that you've already had to pay them because they showed up. We're talking about the money you had to pay them because they showed up on top of revenue from the business from the wasted time. One low quality employee can negatively affect an entire team. Now, what's one of the ways that we stop getting these bad hires? Or I would say, what's one of the ways that we make the good hires want to be here? Let's create a culture people want to join. People think that, okay, I got a food truck, I made the menu, I cook good food, I'm gonna sell it, I'm gonna take the money. So when you post a job, just when you're looking for hires, that's exactly what you're reflecting. Hey, I just need you to cook the food. I'll take the money. I just need you to cook the food. No, it's more than that. Your culture isn't your logo, your food, or the motivational quote hanging on the wall. Your culture is the standard your team experiences every single shift. Every single shift. If you don't intentionally create your culture, your employees will create one for you. You ever walked in your business and was like, hey, I ain't y'all that, or it's getting out of hand, or they starting to do this. This is what's starting to happen. It's because you haven't created a culture and you haven't set that expectation and those non-negotiables. One of the biggest mistakes I see food truck owners make is trying to convince people to work for them. The right employees don't need to be chased or begged. Set your standards publicly. Communicate your expectations up front and let the wrong people eliminate themselves before ever joining your team. The right people aren't intimidated by high standards. They're attracted to them. You ever met somebody and they say, oh, what they want you to do at the job? And they list off all the stuff they wanted them to do. And it was like, man, that's too much. But in the back of your mind, you're thinking, dang, that's just really regular stuff. Because some people don't want to work. Not everybody wants to work. Some people just want to get a paycheck, but they want to work. We gotta be aware of those people, because what that's gonna do is it's gonna affect your culture in a bad way. It's gonna rub off into your customer service. People feel that energy. So how do we do that? We stop selling jobs. Most food truck owners talk about hours, pay, responsibilities, schedule. They say, hey, is this, that, and that? That's the job. But great employees want more than just a paycheck. They want growth, leadership, opportunity, respect, to feel part of something meaningful. Man, I'm telling you, they want to feel like they're part of something meaningful, a place that's growing, somewhere where they belong. People nowadays, people have all type of things going on outside of the business. And while I'm a firm believer of, hey, your personal life stops at the door when you walk in, let's be completely honest. These people that work for you, where you work at, they're spending so much of their time there. You guys are going to grow. You're going to talk about your personal life. You're going to know things about them. They want to be a part of a place where it feels like home, where it feels like family. So instead of positioning your food truck as just a job, position it as an opportunity to grow with a business that's bigger than position it as an opportunity to grow with a business that's building something bigger. And I think when it comes to building a culture, it's not just let's build the culture for the food truck. When it comes to making sure this is a job where employees want to grow and they want leadership and they want opportunity, it doesn't start with the food truck. It starts with the owner. Where does the owner see this food truck going? Where do you see this place going? Where do you want to grow to? You know what I mean? People want to be a part of that. People want to be a part of something that they can see. Share the vision with your employees. Share the vision with them. People love to be a part of a great story. And not just any story, a story that's actually getting moving and progressing to the goal. We spoke about this before. Establish your non-negotiables early. Every employee should know exactly what your business expects before they ever start. Meaning, if you hire somebody and they're doing something that you don't approve of, that you don't like, that's not of the culture, that's not of the standards, and they're like, you never said nothing to me about it before. Sometimes those things happen. It doesn't matter if you haven't said nothing about it before. If you don't like it, you don't like it, and you need to nip it in the bud. But this is why you got to sit down and figure out what your non-negotiables are early, because these things need to be addressed at the front door. They got to be addressed at the front door, because if you don't, over time, they're going to snowball and they're going to become habits, bad habits. There goes that word again. They're going to become bad habits, and things are going to slowly but surely get out of control. So every employee should know exactly what your business expects before they ever start. Here are some examples of non-negotiables. Show up on time. Be coachable. Treat every customer with respect. A lot of these are just basics, but some people don't have that. Some people need to be told that. And as you tell people these things, you'll be able to see the body language and you'll be able to weed them out. No gossip or drama. Take pride in cleanliness. Communicate when there's an issue. Help teammates without being asked. Own your mistakes. Let's take accountability, y'all. Maintain a positive attitude. Represent the business professionally. A lot of people, especially with social media going on right now, they tend to mix that social media life with the business. Hey, no. I used to tell my employees all the time, remember, you are a representation of this food truck. You are a representation of me. So don't forget, hey, I'm not going to police you on what you do outside of here. That's your business. But this is a well-known food truck. And anything you do, they're going to, if somebody sees you do anything, the first thing they're going to do is attach my name and the food truck name to it. So I just need you guys to be I need you guys to be considerate and keep that in mind. When those expectations are clear, accountability becomes much easier. When you write those things down and you let it be known from the front door, when somebody does mess up, it's easier for them to say, hey, my bad. You did tell me that. That's my bad. That's my bad, chef. And that's okay. Unless it's something crazy, then we might have to be like, hey, we really got to sit down. Leadership creates buy-in. This is the part that really helps your hires believe in what you got going on. And one thing I want to stress here is, like, we're not trying to trick nobody. We're not trying to trick nobody. This is what the business owner, this is what the food truck owner, you, the food truck owner, need to be implementing within yourself, so you can take the knowledge, the belief, the motivation, the goals, the standards that you have, and you can spread that to your employees. We're not trying to trick nobody here. We're not trying to trick nobody, but we want to let people know up front. That way they can buy in. Because when your employees buy in, this is where that team really comes together. And quick story. I remember when I realized that my employees had bought in. And it wasn't anything, it was things that I did, but I didn't do anything on purpose. I was just being me. In the beginning, there were some, in the beginning, you have some woes. I opened the food truck September of 2021. From September 2021 all the way until Christmas, all the way to the end of the year, I had only made $19,000. The following year, we made $500,000. But the following year, there was some rocky paths, and it really had me like, man, I don't know if this is gonna work out. I didn't tell nobody. I just kind of told myself like, I don't know if this is gonna work out. And I was trying to get it was right before I was trying to get the food truck open because I hired my team, but we were doing tent setup. So I remember when one of my employees said, Chef, when we opening the food truck? Because we had some dates and we had to keep pushing it back to make sure things were ready. But when he said the word we, he don't know how much that touched me because he didn't look at it as if it was Chef's food truck, as if it was just my food truck. He looked at it as if it was our food truck. And when he said that, man, I gotta tell him this story. When he told me that, any doubt that I had in my mind, anything that I was, you know, contemplating when it came to if I was even gonna move forward with the truck, instantly went out of my mind. Because not only I didn't feel like I was just doing this for me now. I felt like I had people that they are riding with me. They bought in. We, as a food truck owner or as a business owner, your business is your baby. Nobody's going to treat your baby like you're going to treat your baby. So for me to hear somebody say the word we when pertaining to my food truck, I couldn't let them down. It gave me the energy the boost that I needed to be like, you know what? We finna keep rocking and we gonna open it up. So that's just a little backstory on how to create buy-in, but let's kind of go into it. One of the reasons I was able to retain roughly 80% of my employees wasn't because I paid the highest wages or had the easiest job. It was because we built the culture people wanted to be a part of. We were having fun, man. We was busy, a lot of revenue coming in, having fun, great food going out, customers happy. I held people accountable, but I also invested in them. I communicated the vision, led by example, and made sure everyone understood what we were building together. I want to go back to the part where I say communicated the vision. That goes back to that story I just told you about me and that young man. We were, excuse me, we were doing events and setting up in tents. We were setting up in tents. And I believe when he asked me that, he had came to my house and we were on my food truck because I had just got the AC put in. So I wanted to show it to him. And he said that. And it was all because I communicated the vision. They could see what we were going to become. They were ready and they were waiting for it. And they were willing to do whatever needed to be done when the time came. Why? Because I built the culture people wanted to be a part of. The employees who stayed weren't just working for a paycheck. They believed they were helping build something special. Why? Because they had a fantastic leader. And now we're going to get in a few things that leaders do. If you're not a fantastic leader after this video, I want you to be a fantastic leader today. Great leaders lead by example. That's pretty cliche. We've heard that a lot. Okay, let's go into something else. But that is true. Great leaders always lead by example. Communicate early and consistently, hold everyone to the same standard. There are no favorites here. There are no favorites here. He's getting chewed out, you getting chewed out, respectfully. Respectfully, because there's nothing but respect here. But there are no favorites here. Coach instead of criticize. I never put anybody down. I never made anybody feel stupid. If somebody made a mistake, the very first thing that I wanted to do was show them the correct way. Because that's how you coach. You show them the correct way. And if it's something, I even want to know your mindset behind some of the things you did. People tell you what to do all the time, but they don't tell you why. And the why makes just as much, is just as important as the what. Recognize great performance. When I used to work for other people back in my teens and stuff like that, in early 20s, I would always get grown adults. They say, I love working with you. I say, why? They say, you the only one that say good job. Because I believe in letting people know when they're doing right just as much as you want to let them know when they're doing wrong. So recognize great performance. People love to hear that. That boosts the morale. You know what I'm saying? And plus, when you tell somebody that they're doing good, they're going to do that again. They're going to do that again because they know I did good. That's like, I don't even want to get into that example because I don't want no beef in the thing, but yeah, I'm going to skip the example because I'll example you now, but we're going to skip the example I had. And if you know, you know. Correct poor performance immediately. Don't let it linger around because this goes back to what I just said about recognizing great performance. If somebody does something you don't like and you don't say anything, they're going to do it again. They're definitely going to do it again. They don't know you. They might not know you don't like it. They might not know this isn't the right way. So you got to correct them immediately. Not all loud, but in a coaching manner. Be like, hey, no, not like that. Let me show you. Let me show you. Stay calm under pressure. Your team is going to flip out just as much as you flip out. So if you stay calm, your team is going to stay calm. Listen before reacting. A lot of people have a hard time with doing that. This is what great leaders do. They listen before reacting. They give employees ownership. Again, this kind of goes back to, people like to be a part of something. So if you give employees something to own, they take pride in that. They feel good. They feel like he or she trusts me. They feel like you trust them. And you're doing that because you are. When you're giving ownership, you're giving a piece of trust. Great leaders explain the why and not just the what. We went over that. Great leaders build trust through consistency. They celebrate team wins. Man, you guys had a great shift. Hey, you know what? Ice cream on me tonight. Or big hand clap. You know what I'm saying? Acknowledgement. It's the small things that go a very long way. And all of these things, we're going to get into how to hire great people, but more importantly after that, we're going to get into how to retain them. And all of these things, everything that I'm telling you right now is compounding up to having a great employee and keeping that great employee. Celebrate team wins. I can't stress it enough. People love to feel appreciated. I love to feel appreciated. And I'm not an employee. So people love to feel appreciated. Let's celebrate them when celebration is due. They make difficult decisions when necessary. Sometimes you might have to let somebody go. You might have to let that girl who got bad vibes go. You don't want to, but that is, as a leader, that's what you have to do before any type of cancer spreads throughout your team. Now let's talk about what great leaders don't do. They don't babysit employees. Don't babysit employees. We're all grown. We all come to work. Leave the ultra personal issues at the door and let's get to it as a team. Great leaders don't lower standards to avoid confrontation. I've seen this before and it's very unfortunate because this is one of the best. This right here is a masterclass on how to get rid of some good people. You lower standards to avoid confrontation. Man, that's not right. You play favorites. That's not right. You ignore poor performance. You're going to get that poor performance again. You solve every personal problem. This goes back to babysitting. That's not what we're here for. You gossip with the employees. They lose respect for you. Accept repeated excuses. Bad habits form and they're going to do it again. Expect respect without earning it. Nada. It's not happening. Life happens. Show empathy when it's appropriate, but never allow empathy to replace accountability. Now, let's get to the good stuff. Finding and hiring the right people. Where to find great employees? Social media is huge out here. That's the biggest thing we got today. So Indeed, Facebook jobs, Instagram and Facebook stories, culinary schools, excuse me, local community colleges. That's a great place. customers you've interacted with. There are some people, hey, you got people that show interest in your business. They come and they eat there all the time. You know what I mean? You're like, hey, you want a job? Still take them through the right hiring process that we will go through, but these are all good people's these are all good people to keep your eyes open for, or good places to find great people. Other restaurants, be ethical. You know what I'm talking. If you're in the restaurant industry, you know what I'm talking about. Other restaurants, be ethical. I've done this plenty of times, but it was always ethical. Where not to look. Friends who just need a job. That's a good way to lose a friend. Family members, unless expectations are crystal clear. Anyone looking for temporary work when you need a long-term team member. Now, if they're looking for temporary work and you need a short-term team member, hey, have at it. But if you need somebody who's serious and dedicated and going to be there for the long haul, don't invest into somebody who's just going to be there a couple weeks, a month or so. The first person who applies because you're short-staffed. That's where we go back into hiring bodies. Hiring the right person. Experience matters, but it shouldn't be your top priority. Skills can be taught. Attitude, work ethic, and coachability are much harder to teach. Most of the people that I hire, they had no skills. They had no prior skills. I trained them all. But they had great attitudes. They were eager to learn. They wanted it. And that's what impressed me the most. Some of the best employees I've ever had had little cooking experience. What they did have was that willingness to learn, that ability to take coaching. Every hire should be coachable, reliable, honest, positive attitude, respectful, punctual, team oriented. All of these things that we already know. Here are a few position specific traits on what to look for each position that you have on your food truck. We definitely want to get a cook. You definitely need to have somebody with a sense of urgency. Consistent, clean, follows direction. One of the things over here with the cashier, you also want somebody that can count. Let's I'm not trying to call nobody out on anything, but I'm just saying we're dealing with money. We need to make sure we have somebody who has basic mathematician skills. Shift lead, problem solver, confident communicator. Because what we're doing, guys, is we're setting ourselves up to build a great team. That way we can begin to transition out of working in the business. Right now, your business is owner dependent. You need to be everywhere at all times. Everybody's asking you questions. The business can't even survive without you having a foot in it somewhere. We're building a team. That way you can begin to transition out and scale to your restaurant, scale to your next food truck, work on your next business venture. And these are all the people and positions that you need to have in place. Manager, somebody who's able to make decisions without you. Of course, when you hire somebody, they're going to have to call you for certain things, but you only want them calling you on things after they've already exhausted all of their other steps. Interviewing, make sure we interview with intention. Interviews aren't about finding perfect people. They're about reducing expensive mistakes. A lot of times, those red flags that you see after you've hired somebody, they were there in the interview process. You might have overlooked them because certain things end up being like normalcy. But no, we want to go over how to find people in an interview. What are the green flags? What are the red flags? Arrives early, maintains eye contact, asks thoughtful questions, speak positively about their previous job, had good energy, communication, shows willingness to learn. Those are those green flags. The red flags, arrives late. I don't understand how things happen, but people arrive late to interviews. That is a huge red flag for me. If you wanted this job bad enough, you would have been here an hour early if you needed to. That's a huge red flag for me. Complains about previous employers. I don't want to hear about the previous employers without you taking accountability. And if that's all you have to say is just down talk them, I'm not here for it. Poor attitude, lack of accountability kind of goes hand in hand with complaining about previous employers, which they really shouldn't even be telling you none of that anyways. unprofessional appearance, unprofessional appearance, that is very different than having someone that's like, hey, I need a job. Times are hard out here. I wore what I could, still clean. That's very different. That's very different. Had to find where I was. They give you low effort. Come on, they don't give you low work. Working interviews. When I worked at a brunch restaurant, if you wanted to like work the grill or work the fry salad or something like that, and you got hired, you got hired. But if you came in to work eggs, a lot of times they would sit down, talk to you a little bit, and they say, hey, you want to work eggs? Come show me how to flip an egg. Make me an OE. Make me an OM. If you couldn't flip an egg, I don't know. You might need to start somewhere else. Or they may just know, hey, you're a great fit, but we need to train you. But if you saying you can work eggs and you've done this, then you should be able to come back here and flip an egg real quick. I've seen it happen. Training your team. Now, you've hired the perfect person. Congratulations. You've hired good people. Now you just need to get them all to you. They need to know your system. They need to know. One of the things we need to do is onboard them. But after the onboarding process, we need to train your team up. Hiring a great employee is only half the battle. Without structured training process, even great employees will struggle. Hey, if they don't know what to do in your business, how can they do anything for your business? They got to know what to do. One mistake I see food truck owners make is throwing new employees in the kitchen and hoping they'll figure it out. Oh, that's a burger that just came back. Okay, well, what goes on it? Oh, cook it and I'm gonna tell you as you make it. Come on, man, that's not training. That's surviving. So here is my preferred training method that I learned and I like to implement. It is called the show, do together, do alone method. And do alone does not mean leave them alone. All of this is supervised. So the first thing you want to do is you want to show them. The trainer performs the task while explaining every single step. Then when that same item that you made, when it comes back again, or if you're just doing training, you say, okay, now you make one. Y'all do it together. Talk them through it. You're going to make it together. The employee performs the task while the trainer coaches them through it. Now, we're going to do it a third time. Another one comes back. The employee performs the task independently while the trainer shadows them and steps in only when necessary. This is creating repetitiveness. We're using our brain here. You know what I'm saying? We're using parts of the brain to create memory on exactly how to do this step and getting coaching while we're doing it. We're not just throwing them in the wolves. My personal recommended training timeline, and this is also, this can be dependent on your menu. If you have more of an extensive menu, which I kind of hope you don't, because you have an extensive menu, that means we may have some profit leaks and we may have some things that is also holding us in owner dependency, but that will be another video. But my recommended training timeline is week 1, observe, learn, practice, ask questions, perform tasks with guidance. Week 2, lead stations independently, trainer shadows and coaches build speed and confidence, correct mistakes in real time. Your training process shouldn't be more than 2 weeks. Like I say, even with an extensive menu, but it shouldn't be more than 2 weeks. By the end of the 2 weeks, employees should feel confident enough to perform their role without constant supervision. Cross-training matters. Why does cross-training matters? Because if somebody calls out, it's great to have an employee that knows multiple stations. We want to have employees who understand your operation. What if your cook can only work 2 days a week, 3 days a week? Well, who's going to cook the rest of the time? It's so important to cross-train because it helps cover call-outs, reduce bottlenecks, increase schedule flexibility. Okay? Now that person who gets paid the top dollar, you might not have to work them, so many hours a week. You can still give them respectable hours, but you can balance out your labor because you have somebody that may make a little less that can work that same position at least maybe 1 day a week. And then the rest of the days they work their normal position. It improves teamwork, creates a stronger operation overall. One of the worst things is, and I don't put it on nobody if they can't do it. But one of the worst things is your grill guy is slammed and the cashier is standing there and it's like, I wish I could help, but I don't know what's going on over there. That's why it's important to cross train. We're not saying come over here and cook a full meal, but hey, you know what I got going on. You see what step I'm at. Jump in and kind of tag team this with me and let's knock it out. Now, how do we keep these great employees? Because hiring is expensive. Constant turnover is even more expensive. Great employees stay where they feel respected, challenged, appreciated, and not only that, supported. Retention isn't just about pay, it's about leadership, consistency, culture, and opportunity. What great employees actually want: clear expectations, respect, consistency, leadership, growth opportunities, accountability, fairness, communication, to be valued and to feel part of a team. That is so important right there. Employees are far more likely to stay in environments where they feel supported, challenged, and appreciated. Why do employees leave? I think this is something that kind of goes over everyone's head. They don't leave because of the pay. Many leave because of poor leadership, lack of communication, inconsistent standards, feeling unappreciated, poor training, burnout, toxic work environments. So here are ways to improve that retention. We want to keep these good people because we don't want someone to say, you know what, I think it's time for me to find another job. We don't want that. We want to recognize great performance. We want to give employees growth opportunities. A lot of times when someone leaves, you guys put out a hiring ad for somebody to fill that position, especially if it's a higher position, when you should really be promoting from within. And if you feel like that employee can't be promoted to that position and it's not because of their attitude, it's because of their personal performance, that means you haven't been doing your job right. That means you haven't been training right. Another way to improve retention is communicate early, schedule fairly, invest in employee development. You're spending time with these people. Invest in them. Promote future leaders. Create a positive team and environment. Hold everyone accountable. I fully believe in having regular team meetings and one-on-ones. You want to be on the same page with your employees. It's giving you a 2-week notice or a 1-week notice, and the reason they're leaving is because something that happened a month ago. You know what I mean? Maybe and you only finding out because you asking now about the 2-week notice. Had you been kind of doing one-on-ones, team meetings with them, maybe you would have found out about this and you would have been able to fix this issue before you're getting this 2 weeks notice or this quit notice. The goal is not to be better at replacing employees. The goal is to build a business where great employees want to stay. So that right there is the food truck hiring playbook, guys. Let me see. That's the food truck hiring playbook. It really doesn't get any better than that. Now, if you want me to send you this exact same document, the link is going to be in the description. You can get this document for free. I want you to have this. I want you to build the team that's going to help take you to the top. One of the things that I love doing is impacting and changing people's lives. And I can't do that without impacting or changing people's lives. So what do? I build great leadership skills and I create a team that brings phenomenal people together so we can grow together. All right, y'all. So you already know who I am. I am Chef Andrea. If you're not already following me on Instagram, please make sure you're following me at I am Chef Andrea. If you are not already following this YouTube page, make sure you subscribe button and also grab the link in the description. And if you want to get deeper on how we can fix the issue that you're having within your food truck, if you want to get rid of that owner dependency, there's going to be another link for you to book a call with me and we can get on a call ASAP and we can talk about what's going on with your business and see if we can help bridge that gap and get you to where you deserve to be. All right, y'all. Till next time, I definitely appreciate it. All right.